Hey guys, so I thought I would make a video tutorial of how to graph the error bars either in Excel or OpenOffice so that as you were going through, if you got stuck, you could kind of look at the video instead of watching me do it once and then not remembering what to do and being confused and having questions. So what you're going to do is I did this last year. I did this experiment with 3 repeats and it was changing substrate concentration. So it's the same lab that you guys did. But I just want to make sure that because you, as a group, made one graph and you had maybe one set of data that somebody's working with, or one person had Logger Pro, I want everybody to try to use Logger Pro, right? Make sure that you can get the slopes from the graph, and then have everybody graph the sample data, try to do the error bars so that you know what you're doing. And technically, it's formative for now. It is formative, but you will have a summative. So for our next lab, we'll do a summative graph of all the data. Okay, so what you're going to do is use this sample. So in this little box here, there's a Google sheet of data. And so this is basically, you don't have to take all of the slopes. So I've done some of them. And so this was different substrate concentrations. So that's hydrogen peroxide. So a 10%, a 5, a 2.5, 1.5, 0.5. And then actually never ended up doing the 35, so you can take that off. Actually, no, did I do that? Yeah, let's take that off. So here are some that I've already taken. So what you're going to do is go into the Logger Pro file, and you're going to get the slopes for the 1.5 substrate concentration and the 0.5. So then you're going to put in the different, so you're going to measure 6 slopes, and then you're going to take the average. And so some people know how to do this, but I've done it for you. But it's a good idea if you don't know about formulas in Excel. So actually, let me show you how to do this. To find an average, I'm going to say equals. I'm going to start typing in, okay, I want this formula for average. And then it's going to say select, so it read my mind. But you're going to select these 3 boxes and say I want to find the average for these 3 runs for the slopes, which is the rates of reaction. And then ideally, we would have 5 repeats. I didn't do 5 repeats. I did 3. But again, I made a formula to calculate the standard deviation. And so what you can see from this first trial is the average is 0.027, which makes sense if you look at all the 3 runs. And then the standard deviation is kind of saying how far do most of the measurements, most of the points deviate from your average. And so this 0.007 means that most of your measurements are going to be in this range, or 68% of your measurements are going to be 0.027 plus 0.7. And so even we can say, like, what's the high error bar is going to be, let's see, so I'm going to say this equals average plus my standard deviation. And then my low error bar, you're not going to actually plot these, but it's going to be my average minus my standard deviation. So this makes sense. Most of my runs, or my points, were in between 0.019, so that was run 1. Then we have 0.26, and then our top one was 0.034. So our average isn't exactly the same as this middle run. It doesn't have to be that way. But then I'm going to pull these down and say I want to do the same thing for these other data points. And so you can kind of see, like here, for the second one, this high error bar is not the same as the fastest run or whatever. Okay, so first thing, you have a Logger Pro file here. So sample Logger Pro file. So it's on Google Drive, but you're going to have to download it to your computer. And then you're going to have to open with Logger Pro. So you can say, actually you can just say open that file. So what you're going to do, you have all these different runs, and they're all labeled. So you're going to go back to your Excel file, and now you're going to want to find out what are the slopes for the 1.5 substrate concentrations. So you can kind of find, and I'll give you a hint, these ones that look weird are not the ones that you're going to be doing. So you probably want, a range in here, and then you're going to say, I want the slope. And then you're going to select, I want the slopes for my, well, we can actually try all these. I want my 1.5s, and then I want my 0.5, so over here, these are the ones that I want to fill in. So then you're going to say, all right, what are the slopes for those different trials? And so you're going to get a bunch, and then you can enter them in. Yeah, it doesn't look like any of these are too crazy. Okay, so you're going to take these values, enter them into the spreadsheet. Then, again, remember, you can't do standard deviation the right way on Google Sheets. So what you're going to do is download this as a Microsoft Excel, an open document format. So that's if you don't have Excel and you want to do OpenOffice. But I think you can open them with both. So I'm going to download my Excel. I'm going to open this. And so here's where I'm going to show you how to do the error bars. But you're going to want to do yours after you get these values in here. So right now, I'm just going to make my chart for 3 of these points. Okay, so I want to click, I want my substrate concentration for my x-axis. I want to plot my average. So this is just a really simple scatter plot. I don't need to plot my runs. So I'm going to do insert chart, and I want to scatter plot. And so here I've got, and I can go in and put axes labels here. So if I say I want to do the horizontal axis is my substrate, let's see. So I should be able to put a label here that says, oh yeah, axes, horizontal axis, I should be able to get a title in there. Anyway, no, these axes titles. Yeah, so you can go in and label these. So my substrate concentration in percent, etc. Okay, so now when I want to add error bars, I'm going to click on my series, and you can either put, so you can go up here and say I want to add error bars, or you should be able to right-click and say format data series, I think. Let me look and see if it's in here. Okay, you can get to it here. So you can get to it from both ways. I don't want to add X error bars. That could be the uncertainty in my substrate concentration, but I'm not going to do that right now. I want to add Y error bars, and I'm not interested in these. Oh, so I think I had to select. Yeah, I want this. Oh, got it. Okay, so I want to do both up and down, and then I want to say for each point what is the value. And so this is where I'm going to put in and say, I want the error bar to be the standard deviation that I calculated. So I'm going to put custom and then specify value. So I'm going to select this column of standard deviation. And so that will put, for the 10 point, it's going to put 0.007 for the error bar. For the 5 point, it's going to put 0.012. So it's going to make a different error bar for each point. And then the negative error bar is also just standard deviation. So I'm going to select these. And you can either type these in or you can do this one and select. So I'm going to put that. And then let's say OK. And so actually, this one just showed up as a line, but these are my error bars. And if you look at it, so my, yeah, did that one not show up there? So it looks like my error, oh no, yeah, this is right. So for 2.5, I have the really tiny error bar, the 0.002. For my 10, I have the medium error bar, 0.007. And then for my 5%, I have this, yeah, so it's 36 is 0.036 is my average, and my error bar is the biggest. So then when and again, your graph is also going to have the 1.5 and the 0.5 with the error bars, okay? So then you can save that and upload. So really quickly, I'm going to show you for OpenOffice. So actually, I'm going to save this, but then I'm going to open with downloads. All right, so I want to open with OpenOffice, and I'll show you how to do the error bars in here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of, that's my old graph. It's really similar to Excel, but things are in a slightly different place. So I'm going to do the same thing. I want to make my, and again, you're going to select all of these. To select 2 columns at once, you can hit Command or the Apple, the little, I forget what you call that thing, and right-click. So I'm going to say Insert, Chart, and then I want to select XY Scatter. I'm going to make that. Again, you can label the axes. But here, I think it's easier if you right-click and just say Insert Y error bars. And then you don't want to do this. You don't want to just select a standard deviation. You want to say, I want to select the cell range. And then OpenOffice actually has this piece where you can say, I want to do the same value for both the negative and the positive. I'm using the standard deviation for the error bars. So then I'm going to select my range, and I'm going to say, these values are my standard deviations. And that's what I want for my error bar. And actually, it looks like it would help if we rescaled the graph. But you can see that this makes sense, right? So our 2.5 was the really small error bar. The 5 was the big error bar. And then the 10 was the medium error bar. And so remember, if we said, like, does it look like any of these rates are significantly different? It looks like these two are, right? Their error bars don't overlap. But we could say, look, between these concentrations of 5 and 10%, these error bars show a lot of overlap. So we could say, looks like the rate goes down at 10, but they statistically are the exact same value. So it looks like the rate doesn't appear to change between 5 and 10. And that makes sense with what we know about substrate concentration reaching this plateau. There's also a way to do this in Logger Pro. I haven't done that one recently. There's a little tutorial on the web page or on the unit plan if you want to try it. But hopefully this will help you create this graph. And then when you're done, you're just going to upload in your Hapara folder. If that doesn't work, you can obviously just email me your file. Okay, thanks.